Good evening and welcome to the Carbery Milk Quality Awards. I'm joined here in the Barry Row boardroom by Tadhg and Finbarr, the award winners of last year. I suppose like you'd have loved being on farm, and I know Finbarr and Tadhg as well would love to have you on farm, but we are where we are. Over the next hour or so, we're going to show a series of videos all in one, it may be just over half an hour. We're going to be, after that then we'll have a live Q&A session, so if you do have questions, put them into the box. Only the panelists will be able to see those questions, and we'll try and get to them as many as we can at the end of the show. So without further ado, we'll hit the roll and do, as we go along, you can type in your questions.
Hi, my name is Tadhg Hurley. We're the Carbery Milk Quality Awards winner of 2020. This is my father Finbarr, my wife Helena, my boys TJ and Charlie. We welcome you here today to our virtual tour of our home farm, Barleyfield, Kilbrittain.
Good morning everybody, my name is Peter Fleming, I'm chairman of Barley Row Co-op, and it gives me great pleasure today to welcome everybody here to the Hurley family farm in Barleyfield in Kilbrittain. Today is a good day in every sense of the word. It's a very good day for the farmers in West Cork, because again this year we celebrate Carbery Milk Award winners, and for the first time in a good few years it actually has come to our co-op here in Barley Row. It's vitally important that we as producers recognise that we are producing a product that is exported the world over, so that it has to be a world-class product, because it's impossible for the processors to process that food unless the initial product is of the highest quality. And when we think that the milk that left Tadhg's farm this morning will go into making the award-winning Dubliner cheese, and the whey portion of that food will then be used for clinical nutrition, food for the aged and whatever. So it's vitally important that the quality is of the highest standard. And it's worth reflecting that in the last 20 years since Carbery introduced the SAC bonus scheme, there's been massive improvement here in Barley Row. The first year in 2005 we paid out 40,000 a bonus. So just to get back to why we're here today, we're here to celebrate Tadhg achieving the Quality Milk Award, the Carbery Award, and that is due recognition of the dedication and commitment that the Hurley family have brought to their enterprise here. They just went out and did their normal day's work, and just so happened that what they did was of such a standard that they were the ones that reached the pinnacle. So again, congratulations to the Hurleys, and I hope that everybody will find the day just entertaining, educational, because as we know every day is a school day, and we pick up something, we learn something that will help improve our own farming enterprise. Thank you very much.
Good evening everybody, and welcome to this virtual farm walk of the Carbery 2020 Milk Quality winners. On behalf of Barley Row Co-op, I'm both delighted and proud that the winner was one of our own, and I wish to congratulate both Tadhg and Finbarr Hurley of Barleyfield, Kilbrittain on the excellent achievement of winning this award. I also wish to thank the Hurley family for hosting the farm walk, which obviously due to the pandemic is quite different to a normal farm walk. And I look forward to getting insight from both Tadhg and Finbarr on how this farm operates on a day-to-day basis. It is no surprise to any of us who know the Hurley family that they won the award, as they have a great eye for detail. They maintain very high quality and hygiene standards. Their facilities are always kept at a very high level, and they place great emphasis on animal welfare, sustainability and grass utilisation. And this will become very evident in the farm walk today. Barley Row Co-op have an excellent advice service, and the Hurleys have used this regularly in milk quality, financial planning and farm management plans over the previous number of years, and continue to do so. I want to take this opportunity also to thank all our suppliers, customers and employees for their support and cooperation over the last 18 months in this very difficult time. And my hope is for next year's farm walk that we can all meet again on a face-to-face basis and this pandemic will become but a distant memory.
When my father bought this farm in 1936, there was a stall here for 8 cows. And they were milked by hand inside here at that time. But of course, since then we have moved on and we have a 15 stall put in over in the next building. But now that's gone as well and we have a milking parlour now.
It's a grand day outside too. You have to look smart now because you will be Okay, Tadhg, we're up on the highest part of the farm here. You might just give us a picture of where we are at and what you're farming.
Yeah, we're probably 400 feet over sea level here. Everything on the east side of the farm is mostly silage ground. On the west side is mostly grazing, the grazing platform. Across the road, that's the 10 acres we bought there recently enough. And the outside block is 2 fields over. There, that's for the silage for first and second cut.
Okay, very good. So maybe just from our point of view, some of the key figures that are on the farm and why you won the award, and we'll dive into some of them throughout the day. But I suppose there's 35 hectares on the farm. 80% of that is milking platform here, and the bit across the road that's used as part of the platform. And as you said, the block is used as a support block for heifers and mainly for silage as well. The farm is stocked at 2.6 livestock units per hectare, and you are buying in there's 10 acres of first cut bought in. There's 75 cows milking. They're doing 460 kgs of milk solids. And grass growth last year, you grew 12 tonne of grass last year, and you're feeding just over the tonne of meal. I suppose on the financials, the variable costs are in at 14.3, the fixed 6.63. There's an own labour charge of 9 cents per litre, and that's leaving a margin of 5.67 cents excluding direct payments over the co-op milk price at 35.6 cents a litre. I suppose one of the main reasons we're here is milk quality, and two key things there is 70% of the cows received only a teat sealer last year, and 70% of the total herd never received an antibiotic. So we'll hopefully get into that more on the milk quality stop with Don and Hugh. If you have specific questions, do please put them into the chat and we'll try and answer as many as we can later at the end of the show. So we're joined out here by Tadhg and Finbarr. We're out in the paddocks, and there's a couple of farmers here as well, and we're just going to get the ball rolling. Tadhg, just talk to us, Tadhg and Finbarr. You have a lot of the first cut silage is taken from here and some just over the road, but in a couple of weeks' time you'll be that aftergrass will be coming through. Talk to us management. How are you going to manage quality either here? Your stocking rate is going to come well back.
Yeah, the stocking rate will drop a lot because the heifers will go to the outside block. So yeah, there's a lot of paddocks on the west side of the farm that I suppose they're getting stimmy now, but we'll try and bale them now for the second cut. So that'll clean off them.
And you don't close ground specifically for second cut?
We do, we close off the outside block as well because the heifers won't manage all of it. But yeah, we might even get a third cut off it, we'll see.
So Lawrence there, you had a question for us?
Yeah, Tadhg, maybe you'd give us a grazing picture of your year, when it starts and when it finishes, and how difficult it is to get out and maybe stay out.
Yeah, we turn out cows here around, well, we'll hopefully have them out for the to the end of February, and we try and cut the first cut if we can on the 20th, 25th of May. Not always easy to do, but we try it, and the second cut then we'll try and take that in July. That's mostly baling. If things are very good, we'll probably get a third cut. At the end of the year, we'd try and graze them up until December, if we can keep the cows out until then. That's the plan anyway.
So you said middle of February, Tadhg, the end of February you try and get out.
Yeah.
Now you won't always get out, but just talk to us. You're calving the 1st of January.
We start calving here the 1st of January. It's fairly labour intensive, right, in January here. Things are heavy around the place. it's probably hard to get them out any earlier than the middle of February.
And that gap, that 6 week gap, what are you doing to feed
Yeah,
them?
we're probably feeding a bit much for a lot of people's liking, but it's easier. We've the cow more maintained. We start breeding the 1st of April, so we're finished calving by then. Like we started the 1st of January calving and we were finished for the 10th of March. So yeah, the breeding season starts then, like.
And that gap is very important from give yourself a break.
Give yourself,
importantly, give Finbarr a break.
Give everybody a break, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Tadhg, you're just after winning the clean milk, but I noticed over the years, Finbarr, that you were many years in the top 30 in the co-op and won it, I think, a few times. And so give us a picture, Finbarr, of how you transferred that incredible knowledge of clean milk onto your son.
Yeah, well, it was a big job, all right. Like, but one thing that's biting me is that I was milking cows for 48 years, like, and I got a small award in '95, and I got Barrow Top Quality Award in 2009. But here a fella comes home after 4.5 years, and he can win out Carbery direct, like. You know, it is.
That's good training. It's good training.
Well, he must be after increasing the training himself elsewhere as well, like, in fairness now. I wouldn't take all the credit for it either.
Peter, you had you wanted to come in there.
Yes, Mark, I was going to ask Tadhg, as the new host of the Ballyroe Grass Tin Measuring Group, from a practical point of view, Tadhg, how do you measure grass? Do you use eyeballing, or do you send Finbarr out with a plate meter, or how do you actually do it?
No, we actually only just fist over fist. So it's just 600, 1200 and 18. So ideally 2.5 fists is what we try and let the cows into, if at all possible. That'd be kind of 1400.
Okay.
So that's, the cows are happy with that. So we're happy enough with it too. It's only our first year at it, like.
Okay. But Finbarr, you were always a kind of a progressive farmer, so no doubt you were grass measuring yourself the last 40 years in your own way.
Yeah. Well, it was just by Selective Dry I was be measuring it. And I had a lot more interest in seeing, we'd say, ducks on the farm. I think, like, you know, they're with the last 10, 15 years, they're after taking over in lots of places, and they took over here too. But after our grazing, or after reseeding the ground, we'd spray it with ducks there. Overall spraying, but for seedling ducks. But every other year then after that, there'd be a share of them come all the time. But I'm the only one that uses them in knapsack here, so I have full priority that, and then you go around and spot spraying with either graze on 90 or ducks there. And 'twill kill that duck out to the root. Like, my aim is to put them out of business altogether here, if at all possible, like, because there's nothing worse than seeing it is a nice sort to see them in the farm. And also we put out fertiliser, and it is dear it is getting. And it is a fright to be paying money for fertiliser to grow ducks.
Yeah, I hope Tadhg rewards you financially for walking around and killing every duck, because
Well, he will inherit the knapsack
I'll
sprayer.
inherit that job, I'd say, in time.
well, it's an absolute credit to you, because there isn't a duck to be seen from
Oh God, I don't know about that now.
I hope you give him new nozzles anyways at that knapsack, Finbarr. But David, you had some fertiliser.
Yeah, well, just looking at your fertiliser plan, there's around half the farm in Index 1 and 2 for P&K, and I suppose my question is, how do you build up your indexes and how do you maintain them?
Yeah, Index 1, well, across the road is probably Index 1, all right. Spreading slurry after grazings if we can, but definitely the shoulders of the year. We'll try and get out the slurry if we can in the 15th of January onwards and be finished early enough in the fall of the year. 18, 6, 12, we go out with about 2.5 bags of that around the season to get up to Index 2 and if we can.
So we've covered a bit there now on the grasslands. The next stop we'll head for the cows and the breeding stop. Okay, we're here. As you can see, the cows are behind us, so we're maybe just going to focus on breeding here for the next couple of minutes. So maybe Finbarr, I know you were saying as we were coming down the track, you've been focusing a lot in your lifetime on volume, more so on volume, but maybe Tadhg, You've now taken over the reins the last couple of years. What are you focusing on?
Yeah, well, we're still focusing on volume to some degree. Fats and protein. Protein is our biggest thing. Temperament, we always went for temperament. We had Holsteins before. They were very extreme. It was a stronger animal, I suppose, is what we're kind of looking for.
Raymond, you had a question there, had you?
Tadhg and Finbarr, regarding your calving pattern here, you normally go early compared to what we're all being advised to. Do you still see yourselves doing that going forward? And why the reason you're doing that?
Yeah, we're fairly early. We started there the 1st of January and we finished on the 10th of March. Well, we did last year. But why we go early is because we're 100% AI. So every 3 weeks counts. And I suppose in January it's high labour, alright, yeah, but we're finished calving before the breeding season starts. So you need your bit of break there, like.
And I know it's the odd time you get an extra pair of hands as well with Barry. Barry, you come in the odd time giving a hand out milking too when they're stuck.
Right, lads, I see you've a nice herd of cows there. They've come on a lot since I was last milking here lately. What are you actually doing to improve them?
Yeah, they're flying it. But you didn't milk a cow with here, but I'd say about 15 years, would I be correct? A lot you know about cows.
Dennis, had you a question there to come in?
You mentioned earlier on, Tadhg, you pulled back in the Holstein a bit and you're going for maybe a stronger cow and better condition. Have you seen an improvement since you've decided to go down that road?
Yeah, we seem to be getting more of an all-round animal. It's not all just milk. The solids are probably a bit better. Definitely in the calving side of things, they're able to pump out a calf a lot easier, I reckon. And they kind of hit the ground running than the Holstein, like.
Yeah, and I have one on your 6-week calving rate in 2016 and 17. So you can see on the graph on the left hand side in 16 and 17 your calving rate was a lot lower, and it jumped up in 2018 up to plus over 80% in that 6 weeks. And on the right hand side of the graph you can actually see that lag effect of 1 year, the increase in output. You're up to 460 kgs in a relatively short period of time. Or just talk us through that increase in, you brought in some extra heifers into the herd and maybe around that in 2018.
Yeah, I suppose when we bought the field across the road, we were kind of going to expand our little bit, whatever you want to call it. We went from 60 cows up to 75. So there was extra heifers came in that year. They were all bred, so we bred more Friesian that year, like. So yeah, I suppose the higher results is more heifers in the herd, like, younger stock.
And Raymond, you were asking about as we were passing up, you were asking Raymond about there's no bull on the farm.
Yeah, we were just talking about it coming up there. You're having no bull on the farm. How do you manage to get them so compact? Like a lot of people have bulls and they're not getting them that compact.
Yeah, I suppose we might probably pull the plug a bit early, but we don't bull anything in July. We've given up that. We start the 1st of April. There wasn't a bull here since 1983, I've been told, and I don't know much about it. I wasn't around. No, the breeding season is tough going. You have to watch them 3 times a day, and you have to make sure that you see the cow standing and that she's bulling.
You're in the milk quality, you've won it. You've won Finbarr, we will say, in your life, but there was another Finbarr. Just talk us through, maybe Finbarr Mahoney is here. Just talk us maybe through. You started over there, you picked up many things.
Yeah, I started working at Finbarr O'Mahony when I was 15. He was a mighty educator, a fella to teach you, great fella to teach a young fella how to do jobs and get things done. I was there for 4 years. You'll be left do whatever you want to do. You'll be left milk cows or tell him what's going right and what's going wrong, and plenty tractor work. So we used to love going up to him.
Yeah, and did you want to come in, Dennis, or Finbarr?
Yeah, Tadhg was an excellent worker. He was excellent in the morning. He was always on time, and he loved his money. At the end of the week, he loved getting his money. And I must say this about his father. His father must be thought of here today. He was an excellent man. He reared 5 children, and he milked a beautiful herd of cows, and it was a credit to him. Tadhg is a credit to him, and his family is a credit to him today.
Thanks very much.
I just have one final one, I suppose. One thing, if you have other questions, do put them into the live chat. We'll try and answer them after. And there's one more, just on the one thing that stands out for me is, does 40% of the cows are in their 5th lactation or more in the herd? The secret to getting them to last, Tadhg, like there's no stock bull, maybe just give us our...
Barry raw ration. And plenty of it.
We'll wrap it up at that, and as I said, if you have more questions, do put them into the chat.
Congratulations on winning the Carbery Milk Quality Awards for 2020, and thank you for hosting our virtual walk today. Also, you have previous trophies from 1999, 2009, now 2020, so well done on that. A big focus on that would be milk quality. Your TBC is generally on average 2, and your thermodurics are non-existent, it's not an issue for you. Could you maybe walk us through your wash regime and how you achieve such low TBCs?
Yeah, so to talk about the TBCs, well, what we do here is the same wash. We wear a hot wash every morning, and we had a cold wash at night, but since we put in the solar panels up on the roof, we've lukewarm now in the evening, which is a help, I suppose. But it's still the hot wash in the morning. I should probably change it, but it's still hard to change. We're using chlorine free with the last 12 months, probably 12, 13 months now.
So achieving a low thermoduric is that you have an abundant supply of hot water from the solar panels. So would you attribute the amount of hot water you have to the low TBCs and the consistently low thermodurics?
Yeah, definitely. Well, the tank on top of the roof is 390 litres, and we already have 200 litres inside. So the solar panel is actually feeding the hot tank.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely were achieving temperature-wise in the bulk tank, and the washing the machine it's a super job.
And 12 months now you've been chlorine-free. So did you have any issues when you transitioned from chlorine to chlorine-free initially?
No, not really, no. There was nothing showed up in it, which was a good thing. Yeah, we're washing, hot wash every morning, it's cold wash at night. Avelscan Gold is what we're using. There's 400 ml of that going in every wash. We descale once a week, and yeah, that's about it, I'd say.
Okay, thank you. I suppose the key thing to take away from this is hot water and the right amount of chemical.
Yeah.
Okay, and a fresh wash each wash.
Yeah, everything is discarded. All right, every turn, like.
Okay.
Finbarr and Tadhg, as you said, thanks for having us here today, and congratulations on winning all your awards there, including the Carbery Milk Quality Awards from last year. So obviously milk quality is very important to us in Carbery, and Hugh has mentioned some parameters there like TPCs, TCMs and thermodurics. So somatic cell counts are also very, very important for us, and you have very, very low levels of somatic cell counts. So can you explain how you achieve that? What's your routine to manage mastitis control, for example, and keeping any positive milk you may have out of the tank?
Yeah, low SCC, I suppose it starts with bringing the cows from the paddock, I suppose. We don't drive them or hunt them anymore. You follow them, give them their time. Inside in the parlour then, keep the voice levels down, number one. Don't ever shout at a cow, I suppose, around here. Yeah, every cow they're stripped out, they're foamed, they're wiped, and they're fed and milked, and then they're pre-sprayed after, or they're after, yeah, they're post-sprayed, sorry. Yeah, deosin teat foam is what we're using. It stays on them for over 30 seconds, might be even 40 or 50 seconds when you're at it, but longer the better is the way I look at it. Inside in the parlour, water is great to move dirt, but it's your biggest bacteria carrier inside there.
Okay.
So keep yourself dry, keep your hands dry as long as possible inside in the parlour. Then just for the high cell count cows, we do use masticide, and we just dip whatever couple are there with high cell counts. We just dip them after milking. We've found it there now this past year very good. We use it as well in the springtime. So if you can kind of keep down cell count in the spring, I'd say you're kind of nearly set up for the summer then.
Okay.
Just, you know.
Do you use gloves when you're milking? The disposable gloves?
Yeah, every milking they're changed.
Yeah. Okay. And are you breeding for low somatic cell counts? Is it part of your breeding plan, or?
I wouldn't say it's the high priority. No, we don't we have a few tough cows, but I wouldn't say that's the aim. But I suppose we have the cluster movers and the flush. So yeah.
So they're all very helpful, obviously. Okay.
Well done, Tadhg. Well done, Finbarr. Just on your dry cow procedure with Selective Dry Cow coming in now in January 2022. I know you've been at it for a few years. You might just give a context of why you got going on Selective drying off, and give us an idea of what your dry cow procedure is like.
Well, a number of years ago, I can remember we used to get an oral dose for a cow that had mastitis from a very well-known chemist in Bendon. And in the course of conversation with him, I told him that it was very good for the cow, all right, but I said we also use as tubes in the cows, and dry cow, we use to tube every cow at drying off stage with an antibiotic tube. And he just looked at me and he said, there'll be a day coming, you'll be very, very sorry for using those. And I often thought of it for years after, but we didn't change our mind on it at all until we were at a meeting about 6.5 years ago in Bendon, and Willie Buckley, our vet, was giving a talk on mastitis. And in the end of the night, he looked for a show of hands anyway for those who would be interested in going for Select Dry Cow tube, or drying off period. So there was no one put up their hand, and I was too shy to put up mine too. But when we came home anyway, I said it to Tadhg, and next morning we decided anyway, we looked at the milk recording sheet, and we said we'd chance doing the first calvers. So we did do that, and we were happy about it after. When they calved down, they all calved down fine. So since then any animal that's under 100,000 in the cell count, she's only getting teat sealer. And if you over it, then they'll get antibiotic tubes and sealer. But I'd love to see the day come that there'd be no antibiotic tube use, because it'd be easier to tube them too,
Yeah. Absolutely. And that number has increased every year on year.
It has, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We're up to, I was 70.
Yeah, last year we only done 11 cows with
last year.
With antibiotic tube and sealer.
75.
Yeah.
So I couldn't believe that we'd ever get to that far even, but anyway we are on, yeah.
And you have a percentage of cows now that have never seen an antibiotic in their lifetime, have they?
There would be about 70% of the herd
have never
seen antibiotics, no.
In their lifetime.
So yeah.
And what kind of procedures are you using at drying off?
At drying off, well, the cow is milked. We cut back the grub, the ration, and we milk them right up until drying off. We never skip a milking, They're put on straw probably for 24 hours before drying off. And then when suppose they're milked in the morning, and for drying off, then 'tis methylated spirits and cotton wool. And if she's on tubes, you might, if her cell count is only 100, 150, you'll probably go and put her on the tray and find the quarter. And if it's at that, you only tube the 1 quarter, then it's all sealer. And then if she's under 100 for the year, you're just on sealer. And dip them before they go out and let them stand in the yard for half an hour, and be it if it's into the house, then I suppose.
What group sizes are you drying them off in?
Oh, only 10 at a time in the 10-unit parlour, You kind of just do the 1 row, and it's kind of enough for the cows and it's enough for the man too.
So you're saying now there's cows that are potentially leaving the herd that would never have seen an antibiotic in their lifetime?
Hopefully, yeah, this year now will be a good number of them, yeah. That'll be big cull, I suppose, as such for age and everything.
So, right, like, if the cows dried off, from a housing facility point of view, what kind of cubicles and housing numbers can he carry, and what way are you managing the cubicles in during the winter time?
Yeah, there's 111 cubicles there's only about 87 heads going to that house between cows and heifers for the end of the year. We can feed up to 90 at any one given time, which is great. We can split the house into 4 if we have to, or 5. The cubicles are scrubbed twice a day, every day at every milking time. And they're limed, and lime and sawdust is what we use, 3 to 1.
Have you automatic scrapers?
We've automatic chain scrapers. They're put in with 31 years. Yeah, so they're going well.
How often do you run them?
We run them 6 times a day in the peak winter.
And do you run the cows and the in-calf heifers together?
No, the cows are all split. So the in-calf heifers are on their own group. The milking cows, the fresh cows, the heifers are in their own block, the dry cows are in their block, and then we have a pin for springers, be it cows that are within 6 weeks of calving or heifers that are coming close. They'll go into their own pin and then they go to straw bed to calf, because they will get a bit of grub extra just to make sure when they do calf that they hit the ground running, so they're prepared what's coming for them in the spring.
And when do you introduce the in-calf heifers to the cows, to the main herd?
The day they calf.
The day they calf?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Tadhg. Thanks, Finbarr. That's some great information there. So we can ask more questions at the live seminar later on. And we'll move on now to the fertiliser and sustainability section.
Lads, the road was in great order. What's the...
Yeah, we did it up there, I was back in March. The camber was always on it, but we cleaned off the 2 edges. So, and we put down new surface, about 3 inches of stuff it took.
And the poles are well off the side?
They're on the outsides, yeah. It is way easier to drive them in the field. But yeah, just to utilise the whole road, really.
Okay, so we're down on the west side of the farm, close to the river here. I'm with Luke Murray, Agri-Advisor with Barry Rowe. My name's Aoife Feeney and I'm Farm Sustainability Manager with Carbery Group. So Tadhg, I suppose, and Finbarr, there's been a clear focus on sustainability within the industry over the last 2 years. And indirectly on your farm, you've had a good focus on it through your management practices, through the likes of breeding, grassland management and energy. So can you tell us a small bit about that, please?
Yeah, well, the energy side of things, we put in a solar panel last year. It's heating water. It's grand for washing the bull tank and the dairy. It's doing what it's supposed to do now. In the springtime, right, we do take the water straight from the roof to feed the calves, because we feed the heifer calves milk replacer. So yeah.
And I suppose that's had an improvement on your milk quality then as well, having
Definitely,
the hot water.
Yeah, I would on the Thermogumix and the TBC, yeah.
Very good. And breeding then is improving your efficiencies, I suppose, on a holistic level as well, along with grassland production. Okay, so I suppose by 2027 all water bodies in Ireland have to be at good status or high status. You're farming in a derogation here with a nitrates derogation for the last number of years, so I suppose efficiencies are really important to improve water quality in this aspect.
Finbarr, fertiliser use efficiency has become more important over the last number of years. What actions are you taking to improve your fertiliser use efficiency on the farm?
Yeah, well, the one more important thing I have is that I always watch the forecast, and if there's heavy rain in the forecast, there's no way to spread fertiliser before it. One time I did spread it before it, and I had to give it up because it went in mush in the spinner. I want this morning to have a cover over the spinner, but that's not the point about it at all, because the other half of the field that I spread it the day after, fine dry day, it worked perfect in the ground. Whereas before that, it didn't, like. Okay. You'd know it in the colour of the grass, like. And I just said I'd lost so much with it, and I was talking to a man from the company too, and he told me that you would lose up to 35% of the fertiliser after heavy rain, which I certainly would agree with that, all right, like.
Yeah. We can see here behind us with the hill the different aspects of the farm. What practices do you take when spreading fertiliser throughout the year?
Yeah, we'd spread it lighter around the gaps, but definitely here in the hill. See, the cows will never lie down on the hill. So when the cow stands up, she always dirts after. So when they congregate here at the bottom, we go up a gear here, and when we're up in the hill then we might just go as normal like.
Your fertiliser usage for 2020 was 195 kilos of nitrogen per hectare. What steps do you take to keep that at low levels?
Well, we go out on the 15th of January, if at all possible, if ground will allow us, with slurry. So for the first grazing there's no fertiliser spread, and again in the fall of the year we'll give up in August with the spinner, like we'll wash it and put it away and out with slurry at the end of the year.
Okay, very good. That's really good. I suppose there's key actions that can be taken by all farmers to help improve water quality across the country. The particular area you're farming in, you've got a very high risk of nutrient loss because it's a free draining soil. So the measures you are taking are helping to alleviate those losses. As you've mentioned, Finbarr, that 35% loss after rainfall. The key times are the shoulders of the years and after rainfall when nutrients will be lost. So the practices that you have here are really excellent and really positive for water quality going forward.
So from my own point of view, I'd like to thank the Hurleys. They've been fantastic hosts. We hope you've enjoyed the stuff we've shared and the information. If you have specific questions, we'll try and answer as many of them as we can now in the live Q&A. Welcome back. Lots of information shared there in the last half hour or so. I see there is a couple of questions coming through on the Q&A, but maybe I might just start and maybe build a picture of, I suppose, Tadhg, your own history and maybe Finbarr. We were joking, I don't know was it joking at the time or not, but when Tadhg asked for the farm when he was 21, he was brave, I don't know what you would say, but maybe talk us through your decision around that.
Yeah, well, when he came home, he asked me would I give him the farm. He was only 21 years of age, and I told him he was a bit too young yet to give it to him. So he was happy enough about that too, and I told him to go out and work with another farmer somewhere else. He all of a sudden, he said that time, and he have it done by now, he wanted to build a new house, so I told him go out and add on the price of it. So I don't know if he had the full price or not, but anyway, he done what I told him. He went off and he came back. I was glad to see him coming back a few years back, going on when he did come back all right, because I haven't got a 5-speed box anymore.
Yeah, very good. And just on the, I suppose on the bigger picture, it was mentioned earlier on, you had a 10-unit parlour.
Yeah.
Well before your time, some might say. Just maybe talk us through that background and where you've come from.
Yeah, well, we had 6 units, and I just said that we would milk the cows that bit quicker, and that I would have been capable of handling a 10 unit on my own, which I feel I was so. So when we had it, it was a gift, and it was a better time for a social life. But unfortunately, I lost my wife soon after, and after a short illness. So the 10 unit was definitely worth its space more than ever before, because I had 2 schools to make in the morning and make a bus for the secondary school, and the bus wouldn't wait. So at least I said I had that much going for me then.
Tadhg, that gap, you were 21. It wasn't the answer you were looking for, but probably maybe turned out to be the right one, maybe.
It was, yeah. I finished college. Then I was in January and February. We were busy at home, so we were busy enough. There was no fighting going on. But then I asked him in February, could I have the farm? And I was told, no, you're too young, drive on, go find something else to do. So luckily enough, I landed on my feet above in Pedlar's Cross I was, in Carrigrow in a scheme, above with Mr. Frank Hales. And he kept me for 7 years, and we got on okay, I was. But he left me do anything I wanted to do there. There was a good number of cows there, and there was plenty of work there. So we were happy at it. 7 years later, then it was nearly time to come home and start learning how things were were done in Barleyfield. But yeah, it was a great experience to go out and learn what other fellas are doing as well. Like.
Yeah, brilliant. There's just one in there on the bulls. You might have them, we don't have them on hand, but just on the bulls, what bulls are you picking? Or do you maybe and elaborate on why you're picking, or what's your criteria, I suppose?
Yeah, I was 43.15, is it? 45.13. He's probably for protein is what we're going for, like.
Okay.
That's the main aim.
And maybe just talk us through, it come up on the screen, you're doing 10 milk recordings.
Yeah, 10 milk recordings every year, yeah.
And the importance of that, I suppose you're doing the Selective Dry Cow for years, but just maybe talk us through why 10? Does more doing 6?
Well, we were doing 12 before, only we weren't, because 10 was the better option. We were getting more information out of it. It's very important to milk record. It's a gift.
And just one, how long have you been at it?
We milk recording since 1979. But the information that's coming back from it then was good, but the information that's coming back from milk recording right now is brilliant. For the cell count alone, it is well worth doing, like. And I feel that you would want to do it 10 times a year at least, like. It isn't much good in doing it for 3-4 tons in the year, like. You'll be cutting costs, like, but I don't think this is a good idea.
And does one just come in there, culling for SCC? I nearly know the answer myself because we wouldn't hear otherwise, but maybe, are you using milk recording for culling or selective culling for anything else?
Well, we're culling cows because of fertility, like, if they're not in calf.
Age,
yeah, age is the big thing.
Okay, just one in, the teat sealing heifers again,
No, I would never, it's something I would never do. I'd never teat seal a heifer. You should never touch her. It's just, like, we don't even, we did it the first year of Selective Dry Cow Therapy, we never did the first calvers. And we thought they were fine. Because the main thing is give them space in the house.
Yeah, and I suppose from our point of view on the heifers, it's, if you don't have a problem, seek advice in any case, but unless you have that problem, you don't go near it, and then you identify what the problem is or why your heifer's calving down maybe high. There's another one in, you mentioned your paddling or the CMT test to identify higher SCC cows. Talk us through, you're using the milk recording for the ones that are less than 100.
Yeah, the milk recording, but when you're milk recording, it comes back red, orange or blue. And red is, you're guaranteed a mastitis case, like, it's going to appear, like, the conductivity has gone high, so you're going to find her. The orange, you'll probably have to pull out the pad for that, like. So it is very simple, only strip 3 or 4 turns into each quarter of the pad and squeeze the container to 2 ml and have the right amount of milk matching the CMT. And just give it a couple of shakes. You might have to shake it probably for about 20 seconds or 10 or 15 seconds, whatever. And whatever quarter will come up will be thick. And it goes like pure jelly. And it's just, you can't see it to the naked eye, mastitis. You just can't see it.
And you're just tubing that
quartered in. Well, we don't use tubes. What we actually use is just Teagasc 200 is what we're using. And into the injection into the cow.
Very good. There's one, I would say, an eagle-eyed viewer spotted the bullocks. I don't know, were they meant to spot them? Were they meant to be in there, Finbarr? You would take that one maybe?
Yeah, well, usually we sell every bull calf before they're 6 weeks of age, but a few years we might keep 1 or 2 if they weren't maybe up to standard for selling. Last year we kept 5 of them because for the first year I'd say that we were even using AI, we seemed to have more bulls than heifers, and that was the first year. We always had to have more heifers than bulls up to last year. Like. So I said we keep a few extra bulls instead just for the 1 year. They're handy at the springtime at the breeding season to pick out the heifers that are in heat. Now there'd be nothing keeping 5 of them, 1 or 2 of them would do that job alright, like, but They'll be gone before another 6 months anyway, don't worry, Tadhg.
But they're it's good to keep them interested. Like.
Yeah, and I know some of the suckler lads do that have no stock bull as well. They do maybe have a role to play along those lines. Just so that we looked at the road, if someone had lameness, managing lameness, how do you manage it, or do you having cases, or what?
We done, we had about 3 or 4 cows only last year with lameness. We paired them ourselves. It is just give them time on the passage, and try and keep on top of your roadways.
One come in there and just on the sex semen, your calving pattern is very tight at nearly 90%.
Yeah. We tried sex semen before. It's fairly expensive. It's not something we used to hunt. We always used to have more heifers than bulls. We were always happy with that with DI. Just this past year we had more bulls than heifers, unfortunately. But yes, I suppose there is a place for sex semen down the road. But like when you have 40% of your herd over 5 years, they say to use them on heifers only. She's a better conception rate. I don't know. It's morally Angus we use on the heifers.
And do you use beef straws early in the season, or is it?
Yeah.
Pick
your cow. Pick your cow. There's no point. If the cow is bulling, we have to bull her, and that's it.
Yeah.
But if she's not up to scratch in the parlour, she gets a beef animal. Definitely, we use a lot of KYA on the heifers. It just puts less stress on everyone and the animal. There's no calving jack involved in the heifers.
There's two grass ones have come in. I might maybe put them together in terms of the clover. Is the clover's one, or just have you got clover?
Yes, we have clover. It's definitely going to play a big part in the next couple of years, and it's lovely to see it. Only we're all killing it with the spinner.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
In your time, Finbarr, have you? I won't say it's a new thing, but I suppose, can I say the older generation have tried it, and I see that myself with. Some people would say we've tried it and maybe haven't it mastered, but there is certainly, there's farmers now that are getting there, and even the trials in Clonakilty and Moore Park. Had you in your time, or your experiences with it?
Yeah, I did try to keep clover going, but that time we were using maybe 10-20, 7-30 in the end of the year, and it was all nitrogen in for the following spring and summer. And I found that urea, someone might say not now, but I find that urea would get rid of the clover quicker than any other nitrogen. Possibly we were putting out too much nitrogen at that time too, I'd say.
Yeah. And
we're not putting out as much fertiliser now as we were 25 and 30 years ago.
So reduced fertiliser, and I suppose the other thing clover likes is light, so it needs to be grazed at, you'd say, the lower cover to let get in. On sulphur is one. You are you are a dry farm, particularly in the summer.
Yes.
And the role sulphur is playing.
Yeah, we've probably we've 16 units of sulphur put out this year now alone already. We used to go one run in the July before when we had 27.5, but we've cut down to other pasture sward now, and there's sulphur in that, so it's being spread now every turn.
Okay. And just one there, a comment on looking to encourage the new generation to go farming. I know when we were out there, I suppose it was one of the first meetings I saw Helena had the two lads out, and that positive experience that they maybe have in the farm. You've only just moved into the new house, they're now on the farm. Just maybe talk to us and their input in the farm.
Yeah, they love coming out helping, to be fair, and we love to encourage them to come out and help as well. Unfortunately, farms are not a playground, so you have to mind them, and it is hard to get a day's work done trying to mind children around the yard. But definitely when the springtime now, the first 30 calves on the ground, it's great to see the lads coming out. They want to jump in, they want to play, and they want to help. It's great to have them around the place. We don't let them into the milking parlour because of cluster movers. They're the perfect height to knock a young flow out, so they can't come into the milking parlour. But they'll always come for me now all the summer. They'll come with you for driving the cows and getting to know the cows and everything, they love it.
And you mentioned the text. I was laughing only just before we came on. The text, talk us through.
Oh, the co-op, we get the text message every second day at 2 minutes past 5. And the minute it goes off, Daddy, it's cow time.
Yeah, and maybe one thing I might just add to that is it was one client at the discussion group in terms of cow time. If they were away, particularly now in the summer, and they were down the beach, down this part of the world, it was, the dad was always saying the positivity about we have to go home to get the dinner ready for tomorrow and not go home to milk the cows, because I know myself, if you were to go home and you were dragged out of playing, that positive experience, I think, for any young fella and lassie, I think it's important that it's not always cow time when it's on their time. I think that's
definitely,
and that's evident as well with the lads.
They know now that 5 or half 5, I suppose, is dinner time instead of it being cow time.
Yeah.
So it's great. They don't mind going home for dinner. That's a good thing.
If someone has will you? I suppose Finbarr, this is for you. Will you increase in cows and the bullocks go? But
we'll probably hit the 80. It's look, Dad's great help around at home and everything, and look, hopefully the young fellas, one of them might go farming or something, but 80 cows is probably enough for one man, because you have to have a life as well.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that for expanding anyway, rented ground is completely outpriced in my book, like anyway. Like the only thing you'll gain by if you're going renting ground at this stage is by you're going to draw more work on yourself, whatever, about making a profit.
In saying that, you bought ground two years ago.
Yeah.
Just maybe talk us through the P's and K that were up on the screen here. A lot of that was
the
farm across the road.
Yeah.
Just maybe talk us through the process around.
We hit a lot of across the road with 18612 and line and slurry. It's
side type.
Oh, it's peaty.
It's lovely in the summer and the dry months.
Perfect in the summer.
Yeah.
2018 it would grow any kind of grass, yeah. But unfortunately, last September it gets wet. It gets wet early, doesn't it?
Yeah. One came through, and just on would you consider the contract rear and the heifers? Because like instead of rear, you're just maybe to put that into context, your stocking rate is at 2.6, the farm stocking rate.
Yeah.
The milk and platform stocking rate is 3.2 until that aftergrass comes, when the heifers move to the outblock just over the road. Is the option to pull back the stocking rate early by offloading them and going rearing?
It's a touchy subject to mention heifer rearing.
Someone you know.
You'll always do your own work your best. Rearing heifers, there's plenty of room out there too. There's next door is doing it, John Ellis. But it might possibly be an option down the road.
While you've help.
While I've helped.
To your left, that's, I suppose, there's no more questions that have come through. I think that's, I suppose, the bulk of it. We hope you've enjoyed the last hour or so, or just shy of it. I know Finbarr and the lads, again, they'd have loved to have the farm walk. I don't know, is it easier from our point of view or not? Maybe it is, and hopefully next year. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm sure the lads have probably enjoyed it over.
Thanks very much.
The positive energy from both of you is good. I think it works well. To be fair, long may that continue. I suppose the Milk Quality Award is a prestigious award. It's not just the milk quality. There's a lot of things that you're doing, and the smaller, finer details, like the spot spraying, the nutrient use efficiency, not going out before heavy rain. I think all that adds to the bigger picture stuff. And I suppose I could see you're taking a lead on Selective Dry Cow. It's going to be compulsory in 2022, as Don said throughout the show. So it's very encouraging that the responses you're getting are positive. You're setting an example, although you mightn't see it that way. But people looking in, and hopefully today will see that as a positive. But from a point of view, I say the 210s, there's 10 milk recordings.
Yep.
And you're drying off in batches of 10. And I think that is one, it's a big factor in terms of the selection and the actual milk recordings, the reports that are being used. There's plenty of information out there for farmers in terms of milk recording, and I actually think we don't utilise them enough. The last thing, I suppose, if you're not milk recording, there's huge benefits to it. It's not too late to start now. I think even if you wanted to get the next 2 or 3 before drying off, I think you get an awful lot of useful information in terms of your come next spring, your dry offs, your cure rates and all that. I think that's essential for us in our Selective Dry Cow going forward. I'd like to thank the 2 lads. You're probably sick of me.
No, you're fine.
We never said it.
At this stage, no. But I would genuinely like to thank Hugh and Barry Rowe has, I suppose, liaised as well, and Carbery Louise has done a lot of work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We'll switch over maybe to Tom, our regional manager in Cork West, maybe to close us out.
On behalf of Teagasc in West Cork, I'd like to congratulate the Hurley family on winning this prestigious award. It's a fantastic achievement to be judged to be the best producer of quality milk in West Cork. A very sought after award to win. I'd like to congratulate them. I'd also like to thank all the staff of Barry Rowe Co-op who support them, and our own Teagasc advisor Mark O'Sullivan and John McNamara, and all the Carbery staff who've made tonight's event such a fantastic occasion. And please God, in 2022 we'll be back out on the ground with a farm walk for this event. Thank you.